The church outside the monastery walls. We are now standing in front of Senales Church. At first glance, you might assume that this was the church used by the Carthusian monks. Surprisingly, it was not. In fact, this church tells us a great deal about the unique way of life of the Carthusians, and about their relationship with the people of the valley. A church for the local people. Around the year 1500, the monks built this church. However, it was never intended for the monks themselves. Instead, it was built for the servants, craftsmen, farmers and families who lived and worked around the monastery. The monks had their own church inside the monastery walls, where they celebrated Mass in complete privacy. The local population worshipped here, in Senales Church. An entrance that tells a story. Take a look at the entrance. You will notice that the main door faces outside the monastery walls, not inside. This was no accident. The Carthusians deliberately separated themselves from everyday society. They believed that silence and solitude were essential for their spiritual life, so contact with the outside world was kept to an absolute minimum. Even when local people came to church, they never entered the monastery itself. The walls were not only built for protection, they also symbolized a clear boundary between the world outside and the secluded life within. A distant relationship. Unlike many other religious communities, the Carthusians were not active in parish life. They did not preach to the villagers, teach children or care for local communities. Whenever the people needed Mass or the sacraments, a parish priest from Unser Frau or Allerengelberg came to celebrate the service here. The Carthusian monks remained within their enclosure. While this way of life reflected their religious ideals, it also created a certain distance between the monastery and the local population. Some historians believe that this lack of connection made it easier for the monastery to disappear after its closure, as there were few emotional ties between the monks and the people of the valley. Looking back in time. Before we continue, try to imagine this place 500 years ago. There were no cars, no paved roads and no modern village. Instead, you would have seen monks moving silently behind the monastery walls, while farmers and craftsmen gathered here outside in Senales Church. Although they lived only a few meters apart, their daily lives were completely different. Did you know? The Carthusian monks rarely left the monastery enclosure. Some spent decades within these walls, leaving only for exceptional reasons. Their entire world consisted of the monastery, their cell, the cloister and their daily rhythm of prayer. Our next stop brings us to one of the most important illustrations of the entire monastery. The large information board at the entrance allows us to travel back in time and see what the Charterhouse of Allerengelberg looked like during its golden age. There, we can finally understand how this remarkable monastery was organized and how the monks lived behind its walls.